Debate live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by, let's see the screen, click OK, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So welcome, one and all.
I see we're slacking again.
Hello, hello, hello.
Not on the ball today. I'm a bit ill, so if things look a bit weird in the transitions, it's because I'm a bit fuzzy. That's all it is. There we go. We're on the right page now. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature.
Why? What does it matter? The show's falling apart anyway. Might as well just pack it in.
The show's falling apart? No, it isn't. What are you talking about? Me being a little bit sick and having slightly late transitions by about 3 seconds doesn't mean the show is falling apart. It just means I've got a bit of a hold on. Just means I've got a cough. I say I got a cough. I've had a fever all weekend. Absolutely awful, I feel. It's because it's my birthday tomorrow, and as a consequence, I'm probably going to have the day off. And because I've kind of committed to myself that I'm going to have a day off, maybe get a haircut, things like that, my body's gone, oh, well, this is definitely going to be a great time to be really ill. Like when you book a holiday, I'm sure there's people in the audience that have done this, right? You book a holiday, and you know exactly when it's going to be, and you work and work and work, you prep, you get all your stuff ready, you got everything sorted, you're ready to go on holiday. A day before you leave, suddenly you've got a really severe cold. The minute you finish work, you're like, what's going on? I feel terrible. Well, that's probably me. So just to fill the audience in on why Neil would say such a thing, it's because apparently we've got some fans. People watch us from Globebusters and were critiquing us on how they feel the show is going, which is lovely. Thank you. I mean, I don't watch their show, which is, you know, just one of those things. I find it boring and not really very flat earth related. But there we go. They watch ours, and apparently they think that the arguments between Quantum Eraser, Brian, and myself are indicative of the show falling apart. Other than it being par for the course and what we always do, I don't really agree. But there we go. They're entitled to their opinion. And thank you for watching. If you're watching now, thank you so much for being here, members of the Globebusters team. Hopefully you've heard some of our critiques of your nonsense when it comes to ether and your scientific validity that you don't have for anything you claim when you're using pseudoscience like Michelson-Morley, lying to your audience about things like that. Hopefully you've heard me say those two things as well. Or would it just be whether or not the participants on the show get on, as opposed to your fraud and use of science when you don't have any? I mean, I would think you'd address that. But there we go. Those sorts of things only get dressed as me being called a scammer by the Globebusters participants now, don't they? Even though they're very keen to tell their audiences how it's important to go to Antarctica for an experiment. I mean, these people are shills, liars, frauds, charlatans. They tell me that I'm a scammer and tell my audience I'm a scammer because I say science proves, therefore scammer. Right? Scammer time, right, Jaren? Then the next thing you know, they're telling their audience how they must get behind an experiment, failing to recognise and affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy and begging the question of a globe with antipodal positioning. You'd think they'd pay attention to those things we've critiqued about the Globebusters idiots and what they say when they're out and about doing their thing. Whitsit and Jera and Dave and all the rest of those clowns who haven't got a clue about flat earth and are merely here to punt apps and delude people into believing that experiments aren't actually proof of anything unless you're going to Antarctica, Jaren. There you go. Maybe respond to those things there, Globebusters. Enjoy.
Is that the Old Wives Club you're talking about?
Old wives, what?
The Old Wives Club, you know, that Does it spread old wives' tales?
That's a new one. I mean, I kind of know what an old. I thought old wives' tales were what you would tell your kids, like Hansel and Gretel, to stop them doing certain things, like following strangers. I thought that's what old wives' tales were.
Well, they're based around superstitious things, what you shouldn't do because something might happen, or yeah.
And how does that relate to Globebusters? I'm not following.
Well, if it's not scientific, then it's probably an old wives' tale. What is it? I look at the sky and what do I see? Well, that's just what old wives used to say.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying. Well, when we say they're using parlor tricks, you would say, well, without the parlor trick, it's just a just so story, aka old wives' tale. Gotcha. Yeah, just so story, old wives' tale. Most of the time it's not, though. They're trying to imply they've got some sort of scientific validity for this ether crap that they're peddling with free energy. And they don't. They don't have any scientific validity. They don't have any observed phenomena. They're hijacking an inferred phenomena that doesn't exist from gravity to infer there's a downward acceleration. So, you know, I tell you what, I've covered a Globebusters ether nonsense many a show. Glad they're watching, though. It's nice to know. But what's that? I need to get on better with QE and Brian, do I? Oh, I'm all right with them. They're all cool with me too. Hope that's cleared that up. We'll still definitely be arguing with each other when Brian asserts something that I don't necessarily know. Through my ignorance alone, if nothing else, I'll disagree, just because he's Irish. I mean, why would you trust him? Therefore, I'll argue with him. But that doesn't mean I don't like the guy. He's very pleasant, as is QE most of the time. And that is generally how we will forever interact with each other. That will never change. We will always be arguing. Like brothers argue. They still love each other dearly. And I love Brian dearly too. And QE for that matter. In a brotherly kind of, I'll fight with them at every opportunity kind of way. It's really not a cause for concern. What is a cause for concern is pretending you've got science when you haven't. That's fraud. I would concern yourselves with those critiques that we've actually highlighted of Globebusters, as I've just said. Anybody else catch this? Like I say, I don't watch their show. It's nice that they watch ours. Anybody else see this? Shout out to Unitox Femu. More G proved more Sukoli. Hello from sea level. I don't understand what that means. And I'm on one screen, so I can't put the super chat on screen for the audience. I'm really sorry, Unitox Femu. Sasha. Thank you for the super chat. I'll give it a little heart so the audience can recognise that I've seen it. But anything else happen over the weekend that perhaps we should be aware of? Neil? Did you see this? Slander in regards to how Brian and I and QE, who are nothing but completely conciliatory with each other always, how dare they even assert that we would ever argue?
No, it's the first time hearing of it, but it's good that they're listening.
Well,
Didn't somebody say Will Duffy mentioned you as well? Maybe if somebody has a video, let's check it out.
Oh, really? Will definitely gave me a mention. Oh, well, isn't that interesting? I can tie these two things together beautifully. So Globebusters like to use affirming the consequent formal logical fallacies. They have done in the past when they went to Netflix and decided to assume that if Earth would be rotating, then we'd see 15 degrees an hour of deviation in a gyro. And whether or not we'll see 15 degrees an hour in a gyro is consequent, and whether or not glurf is true. So glurf is true because we saw 15 degrees an hour. No, actually ether drift. That would be an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, pointed out by me to Globebusters. I mean, I was called a scammer and such like, and ostracised from the community as it was for doing so. Nevertheless, it's definitely an affirming the consequent fallacy, which is highly humiliating for the entire Globebusters team, and is, to this day, something that people will point out because they see Jaron and Bob and various other people on Globebusters team doing a very poor job of recognising fallacy and claiming that they're doing experiments, looking through little bits of wood. Oh dear. No, they're just charlatans. There to affirm the consequent, very useful for our opponents to take the mickey out of. And they will. And here we are again with the final experiment that Jaron says is very important that we take seriously, when it's yet another affirming the consequent fallacy. If Earth is a ball, by antipodal assumption, I will observe 24-hour sun in the Antarctic region. I do! Perhaps don't. Observe 24-hour sun in the Antarctic region. Therefore, my antipodal globe assumption's true. No, it's an affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy, formulated as such. If P, Earth a sphere by antipodal assumption, then Q, 24-hour sun. The idea being that the only thing that seems to be validated is the Q statement, if we have or if we don't have 24-hour sun. So we can ignore the fact that we're assuming we're travelling to the bottom of a ball by assumption when we get there. And when we see a 24-hour sun, it'll confirm that we travelled antipodal to get there. No, these two things aren't connected. It's a fallacy. Affirming the consequent, it's called. Now, all you need to do is point that out, and that would be the end of it. There'd be no more reason to go down there. Now, we might want to take the mickey out of them and say, well, go and get us the pitch data while you're at it, because you've got an antipodal assumption in your fallacy. So you're going to need to validate that antipodal assumption. Oh, you don't want to? We wouldn't be able to read how flat it actually is when we already know the data and how planes fly with respect to the horizontal reference they're using. Yeah, we already know Earth's flat, and that's how it's measured and flown upon and built on, navigated, mapped, charted, discovered new worlds with. All those things are flat, and we already know it. So we just have the fallacy then, just the if we go to Antarctica, we'll be dangling off the bottom of a ball because I say we are, and when we get there, we're definitely dangling off the bottom of a ball. Let's see what we can see. And when we see it, we'll say that confirms the bit I just assumed about being on the bottom of a ball. How pathetic that these people on Globebusters haven't even recognised this yet. I mean, you'd think they'd recognise it. I told Jaron personally. Bit slow on the uptake, even with the fallacy being pointed out to him. What's that? We're arguing? Yeah, we do that here. It's a debate show. I'll put them in the title. Let them know. Grab me a Globebusters video and I'll let them know by way of sending my very loyal supporters and viewers to their show, who typically wouldn't go because they don't want to hear lies and deceit with scientific claims of ether that aren't validated with the method of science, therefore pseudoscience. A lot of my audience has given up on you, but like any opponent, scumbag, fraudster, I'll still send my audience your way. Absolutely no issues. And someone dig me out a Globebusters link and stick it in Skype, and I'll send my audience over to Globebusters to let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Thank you for critiquing how well we get on with each other. Now maybe you'd like to actually address some issues in regards to the globe Earth / flat Earth debate that we debate about here, including but not limited to your use of fallacy and pseudoscience. Maybe recognise the affirming the consequent that you've got behind with one of the globe believers. Maybe not just one, lots of globe believers all singing the same praises for Jaron. I wonder why that is. It's almost like you've missed the wood for the trees and now they're all praising you as you buy into their fallacy. I'm sure they'll address all of this, given that we've addressed the issues that they've had with me and Dewey and... what was his name again? That Irish guy? I forget his name. Brian or something. Apparently we argue. Shout out to Jardo. Will Duffy does a slight comic jab at you guys in HOS latest video by having his Wi-Fi say it's not an experiment. I'll find you a video and post it. Having his wife say it's not an experiment. What? I don't really understand what that means, but thank you very much for the super chat, Jardo. Really appreciate it. Please share the show if you've not done so already. 2 clicks of the share button. Hopefully someone will send me a video link to what's them called? Globebusters, so we can send them on their way. Oh, that was what I was going to do. I was going to add them to the title of the show, wasn't I? Globebusters feedback, I'll call it, I think. Right, what else have we been talking about over the weekend? There must be other stuff other than Globebusters slagging us off. Anybody? Anybody at all? Now I'll do some more shout outs then. Shout out to Jardo. Sorry, I'm walking and typing. That's not something you need to apologise for, but I'll take £2 for it. Thank you very much. Also, shout out to the Price of Adam for the super chat. He says, happy birthday. It's tomorrow. But thank you, we really appreciate it. I may not have a show tomorrow. I'll probably be ill still.
Did you get permission to take off? Or what's the story? You just working on your own now?
Who?
You.
You talking to us, Neil?
Did you ask, hey guys, it's my birthday. I'm going to take the day off, or you just taking it upon yourself, like it's your show or something.
I'll do whatever I want. If I want to take a day off, I will. That's one of the only, when you work really, really hard, one of the only benefits of being a YouTuber. As in, you're your own boss. You can decide when you can, if able, or want to, if just willing, do a show or not. You know, I've got a set schedule, and I appreciate that, but I don't take very much time off, Neil. This year, I can't even afford a holiday for the kids, so we're too poor to take them away. So we're not even going away this summer, which is a bit weird because what little money we have had, we've spent on little classes, which are in schools. So all the kids pile out of schools, and then my kids pile into them in the school holidays when they're all running around the fields, not in school. Like today, my eldest daughter was doing how to ride a bike or a bike proficiency thing, and it was at a school, very beautiful school actually, local to me. And yeah, I can imagine it being horrendous with all the kids running around, but when there was just 4 other kids there, you're like, this is great. You know, you got the run of the whole place, this beautiful building, big fields, and ride your bikes around with a teacher. 1 teacher per student, I might add. Very different to the daytime running of the school. Bloody hot it is here today. I tell you, even in this room, I haven't got my projector on because it's just, when it gets to days like this, I can't have 2 screens running because it's just too hot with 1,000 watts of power going into this projector. It just chucks out too much heat and I'll eventually pass out whilst making the show. I'm already halfway there as it is. See hot where everyone else is? Bible U says dry humour not coming through. Don't know what you mean, but it's definitely not dry heat. Sweating like a little piggy.
Does it get humid in England? Is it like humid or is it a dry heat?
It's very, very humid.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be humid.
Well, it's like what I would
Yeah, that's how
call
Alabama is.
like tropical storms.
Oy.
Like really hot, really sunny, really humid, and then you get thunder and lightning at the same time.
I always figured like England and the UK or whatever, they have like the most basic weather in the world. It doesn't get too hot, but doesn't get too cold.
Nah, not at all. You get all 4 seasons full on. So you get a proper fall, you get a proper winter with sometimes snow, and in the summer, you know, it can get up, maybe not up to 40 degrees centigrade, but you know, it can get pretty close. So you get really hot summers. You can sunbathe here. You can burn yourself really easy. You can easily get skin cancer.
Nice.
Yeah, sweat was pouring off me. I was so hot. I was like, wow, I've got to be able to do something about it. Might shave all my hair off. Get a haircut tomorrow. That'll probably help. Or I'll look like a cancer patient. One or the other. Don't have a fully sick
for those few
birthday.
days that it gets hot, it's not worth to have an AC, right? Because a lot of people don't have air conditioning in the UK.
No, we don't.
Is that
Most
true?
people don't. So when it's hot, it's just hot.
Oh. Where I live, if your air conditioner goes out, it's like an emergency. But
yeah, dude.
Well, imagine what that
yeah,
would be
I mean,
like
where
here,
I'm
but
at,
the worst part of
it gets hot in March and stays hot till October.
Our homes in the UK are designed to insulate heat. They're very much designed to keep heat in. They're not designed to get it out. So on a hot day, it can become insufferable in a British house because there's no air conditioning. Opening the windows, what's that going to do? It's hotter outside than it is inside. So yeah, it's just unbearable sometimes. Anyway, enough of me moaning. It's only like this for about 3 days of the year. Iron26 says, don't have a fully sick birthday. Oh, do! Oh, well, thank you for the super chat. Did you share the show? Smash that share button if you haven't done so already. Right, did anybody get me a link for a Globebusters show? Can somebody grab me a link for a Globebusters show? Stick it into Master B so I can send them our way, or we'll have a look at what they had to say. Everybody's doing it. I don't mind, it's a Monday. I've asked 3 times already if there was anything else that was happening over the weekend.
Nobody wants to do
I
it.
didn't even know Globebusters still existed, to be honest. I thought that was kind of over. I guess I gotta go check them out again.
Well, I would if someone had grabbed me a link to their show that they critiqued us on. And then I'd be sending people out from our camp their way, you know, building the algorithmic love, hoping that they'd do the same.
If anybody has a video, guys, put it in the main text chat and we'll send it over to Nathan.
Who was it that told us? Somebody was informing us that this happened.
I believe it was Jado. Jado said it this morning. He's the one who also mentioned about Will Duffy mentioning you. So, Jado,
Yeah,
if you can
so-
share it in the main text chat.
I'll have a look. It's the only problem with Globebusters is it goes for like 3 hours and 45 minutes. So the period when they were discussing this, I'd have to go back through it again and and timestamp it. So, and in relation to Will Duffy, it's pretty obvious who he's having a go at without him saying it, because what happens with him is he starts off by doing his new video, saying he's very proud of his new video.